Stu Jeffries.
Ah, right. Listen, I'm just off to London. I'm just wondering, if I miss this flight, what would happen to me?
Oh, that's no problem. Ward Air flies to London 7 days a week. We could send you out tomorrow.
Oh, really? Oh, great. Good. Just off to England to spend 4 weeks checking out what's new and hot in what some say is the music capital of the world, London. Tonight, Climie Fisher, Escape Club, Dare, and John Farnham on show number 282 of Good Rockin' Tonight. Brought to you by Molson Canadian Rocks. What music's all about. Hi, I'm Stu Jeffries, and welcome to Good Rockin' Tonight, the London sessions. With a lot of thanks to Ward Air, we are off to London, England, and for the next 4 weeks, we'll be bringing you some new names, as well as Phil Collins, the Escape Club, Rose, John Farnham, lots more, too. We're even going to take you backstage to one of the longest-running TV shows in Britain, Top of the Pops. First of all, though, I want to introduce you to one of my personal favorites right now, Climie Fisher. We are here in the London offices of EMI Music International, talking with Rob Fisher of the Climie Fisher Band, formerly of Naked Eyes. A little musical background to start off with, starting with how Climie Fisher came to be.
Well, I was in a band, I had a band before this called Naked Eyes, which did pretty well in Canada and the US. Not so much over here, but towards the end of '84, that was sort of petering out because my partner, Peter, funnily enough, got married, lived in Los Angeles. So I was in London, and I had a lot of free time, obviously, so I was doing session work, keyboards, and I met Simon at Abbey Road Studios, and he was sessioning as a singer. And I thought he had a great voice, and I was looking for someone to write with as well. So we just wrote a few songs together, and that was the start of it.
With the success of Naked Eyes, why not just keep that band going?
Well, I think we both thought, Peter Byrne and I, that you know, that was a thing of the past, and it was, you know, Naked Eyes was that set up alone. And although it was tempting to try and sort of, you know, capitalise on the name we'd made, it didn't seem right, really, and a fresh start was in order, I think.
Anybody still harking back, obviously, to the Naked Eyes days? Are there any comparisons to the Naked Eye days to Climie Fisher?
Only sort of melodically wise, structurally, sort of the melodies are, you know, very important to both me and Simon as they were to me and Pete. So it's melodically very strong, I think, both things. But Naked Eyes was more synthesised, you know, it's more of the 1983 sort of era.
Now that you've left Naked Eyes, all the dirt comes out. I understand that Madonna actually played a little part in Promises, Promises, doing vocals or something like that?
Yeah, almost. Actually, we were doing Promises, Promises, doing the 12-inch with Jelly Bean Benitez, producer, and it was in New York, and we were over there, and Madonna was going out with Jelly Bean at the time, which is common knowledge. It's before she became successful, and she was sort of hanging around the studio, you know, getting in the way, getting under people's feet. But you know, she was a singer, and Jelly Bean said, you know, why don't you try doing a rap on this sort of middle 8-bit we had? So she went out and did it, and we wiped it the next day.
Was it like, was it terrible, or what?
It wasn't that good, actually. No, sorry, Madonna.
I read that Simon says you two are quite a contrast. Just wondering how so, and how does that affect your songwriting?
Well, I think it's basically our backgrounds, what we used to listen to. Simon listened to more sort of R&B and sort of soul, black soul music, and I listened to more sort of English sort of stuff like 10cc and the Beatles, although we're both influenced by the Beatles, I think. So there is a definite contrast there, but it's a complementary sort of thing, really.
So you get just an R&B injection into a good old-fashioned 10cc cynicism every time.
Well, yeah, you could put it like that. I mean, Climie Fisher has got more soul, I think, than maybe Naked Eyes had, just a little bit.
You worked with Steve Lillywhite on the Everything album, and the reason why I bring that up is that Steve is working on the new Bryan Adams album. I'm just wondering, what does he like to work with as a producer?
Well, Steve obviously is a big name. He's a great producer. His strength, I think, is getting performances out of musicians and making tracks and songs build, and he's absolutely brilliant at that. When he works with us, I think he wanted to try and move a bit more into the keyboard area, because obviously we're keyboard-based, so it was a bit experimental for him as well. So what we did, actually, when we did This Is Me, was the first track we did with him. We had the Fairlight computer running, and also we had a real drummer, real bass, real guitar, all playing at the same time, me playing keyboards. And we just did like 4 takes of This Is Me, and the 4th one was it, and that's the record.
Oh, wow.
But he was great for...
What did you learn from him?
Well, basically getting that sort of performance out of people like drummers and guitarists and stuff like that, and really sort of, I mean, he's not a sort of musician. He can't say, well, play a 13th flattened chord there or something, but he can say, you know, hit that snare drum harder there or do this fill here, and sort of build the whole thing up.
What's going to keep Climie Fisher out of the Flavor of the Month Club?
Well, I think it is the songwriting which makes it a long-term project, and I'd compare it maybe to the Police or someone like that in its longevity, hopefully.
Good Rockin' Tonight continue with a hot new UK band that's doing great things in Canada. The Escape Club, right after this.
Hi, I'm Johnny Christo.
I'm John Holiday.
I'm Milan.
I'm Trevor Steele.
And we're the Escape Club.
And have you heard the news? There's good rocking tonight.
Guys, really appreciate it.
6,000 miles for that.
From the Escape Club to Good Rockin'.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Who wants to get the duty of telling me how you all came to be?
Trevor does.
All right, Trevor. Okay.
All right, what do you want to know?
Okay, what versions do you have so far?
We've got one. This
Okay.
is the version. We formed about 5 years ago. We all used to go to one club in London called the Embassy Club. And we were all sitting around for a few weeks moaning about the state of music. And so we said, hey, let's form a band. So we did. But John and Johnny both played bass, so he had to learn how to play guitar. He still hasn't learned, but yeah, he's doing the best he can. But that was 5 years ago, and been up against it ever since, and luckily it's beginning to break now.
Are you surprised at the success of Wild Wild West? Actually, it's kind of a double-sided coin because it is big in America, it's big in Canada, and it's not big in the UK.
Right. It's
So,
big in Australia as well.
You know,
And it's-
world over.
Yeah,
okay?
everywhere
Yeah.
but here.
So let's talk about, first of all, the American situation, or the North American situation. You surprised at that? How does it feel?
I'm totally surprised, really. I mean, when we released the record, we thought, you know, this will stick out the record and hopefully that'll open a few doors for us. And, you know, if it's a good enough record, then the next one may go a little higher, and the next one, you know, do it slowly. But to sort of be sitting at number 3, you know, in the charts now is absolutely unbelievable. We never thought that. We thought if we get in the top 100, we would have done well with our first record, you know.
So any theories as to why the UK, your base, has eluded you?
Because, well, I think it's taken off in America because people have heard it. In England, no one's heard it because the radio station won't play it.
Why not?
I don't know.
Probably because it says sex in the lyrics.
Yeah, and because they like Kylie Minogue more than us, you know, so they'll play her to death and they won't play us.
So if you haven't got Stockake and Waterman on your
That's
side...
right,
yeah.
then we...
The next album, actually, we're going to do is Stockade.
Yeah. Trevor's going to wear a dress. We've
Yeah,
tried it. He's
that's
tried it
right,
on.
that's
He's had
right.
the fit in. It
My
works.
legs don't quite.
Yeah. We got him in a soap opera. He's going to do a soap TV. In this.
I can see it now, Rick Astley and the Escape Club.
That's it.
Hit it, boys.
Actually, that's always been our attitude. If we get airplay and the public can hear it, we knew that we'd do well. And really, well, that's one of the reasons why I've been sitting in this country for 5 years doing nothing.
I think that the problem with our video over here as well is it provokes a reaction. It isn't a bland video. It doesn't come over like every video that they play, which is basically the same sort of like, you know, beautifully shot, you know, and there's a nice sort of concept on it and everything, you know, but just washes over you. The video stands out. It makes you think, what? And whether you love it or hate it, which does actually seem to be the reaction, there doesn't seem to be many people who go, yeah, that's okay. They either love it or they hate it. That is the thing that they find a problem over here, I think. I think that it provokes a reaction and they're not sure if they want to put it on the telly, you know.
5 years down the road here now, where would you like to see yourselves? What would you like to be doing?
Rich.
Aside from the obvious, so would I. What else would you
No, we'd like to still be playing. We'd like to be playing gigs. And hopefully we'd like to have moved along the road and not be making Wild Wild West Mark 5, which is really what we don't want to get into. I mean, the next album hopefully will be a bit different. Just hope that we progress and don't sink into this thing that a lot of bands do, just keep knocking out the same album. So, you know, in 5 years' time, if we're still doing that, you can come and tell us. But hopefully we would have gone further on up the road.
So there won't be any sign of the really, really, really wild, wild...
Really wild.
Just before we go to that, one last thing we were talking about just before we started was this acid house thing that seems to be dominating the latest trend. What is it?
It's dance music with a different name, really. It's the same stuff they've been playing for the last 5, 6 years.
It's dance music for hippies, basically.
Yeah,
I mean,
well-
the idea is that what they've done is that like kids go down to, well, not even kids really, like just people go to a club and they play house music and
Take lots of
they
drugs.
get out their face on acid, basically, and and listen to it, you know.
And the music sounds different, so that's why they called it a different name, you know.
But it doesn't actually sound any different. It's no different. I mean, the weird thing in Acid House is they do actually play U2 and things like that at the clubs. It's strange. I mean, it's just a name, again, as I said before, and it's all part of a fashion, you know, and that's why the music becomes popular over here, because it's all back, you know, it's cool to be into Acid House, you know.
See, at one point I think it was quite a cult thing to be into, but now it's like it's gone on one of our national television news things, you know, that they're all worried about the kids taking LSD and ecstasy, so now they're like promoting it, if you like, they're making it bigger than it actually is. You know, instead of just leaving it into the underground movement thing, eventually those sort of things fizzle out in 6 months. But by broadcasting it to everybody, you're going to see 16-year-old kids going, oh, well, that's just for me, that is. Oh, bang, I'll take one of those and, you know, off we go. So, that is one of the troubles.
So if fashion dictates the charts, then we could all wear Popeye hats and bring back the Looney Tunes then.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Makes it hard to progress, but you're doing it well in North America, and we wish you all the best. Thanks for talking.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
We're in the offices of We Are Records in London, England, and a hot new album is just out from Mike Rutherford of Mike and the Mechanics, or Mike Rutherford of Genesis. Whatever it is, he's with us right now. Mike, the album is called?
Living Years.
Living Years, and it said in the biography that I read here that it was easier for you this time around, as compared to what?
Yeah, well, the first time around, I didn't really know what I was doing. I mean, I went away to Montserrat to record 10 songs, and I got back and I thought, who's going to sing it? And then I found Paul Carrick and Paul Young, and then I thought, I mean, it was just done week by week, it really was. We just do a bit and see. We were feeling our way, so this time it was so much easier. I knew both Pauls were involved, I knew who was playing on the album, I knew who I was writing the songs for in terms of who was going to sing it. I was working with the same people all around again, so it was easier.
Were you taken aback, a little surprised by the success of Mike and the Mechanics in North America?
Yes, I was. I mean, you always think it might do well and go like that, but I didn't really think it would do that well in North America.
Now, this time around, what are your feelings going in?
Well, now I'm worried, because I've now got to follow something up, you know.
Yeah.
Previous to this, outside Genesis, the solo stuff I did never got very far, so I had nothing to live up to. This time round, I've got to follow it up.
The new Mike and the Mechanics project, can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure. As I said, I went in to record it feeling confident about the songs, which is unusual for me, because I'm normally worried. We recorded it this time down at the Genesis studio, which is called A Farm, and I haven't done much there since it's been rebuilt, because we were away so much touring with Genesis, and it's a lovely environment to work in. And I went in, laid down the bass tracks with Adrian Lee keyboards and Peter Van Hook playing drums. And it was fast. And we laid them down quickly, which I think is always a good sign.
What do you do with your off hours?
Well, I've got a new approach now, which is time is the important word, I decided. Mm-hmm. Always in the past, you know, I finished an album and I've had a week there off, and then I've started the next project. I'm actually trying to fit in a bit of time between things. For example, now until the album, so until the tour starts, I'm just doing a bit of promotion. I'm going to go to America and Canada, States and Canada, and do a bit of chat and a bit around Europe and England and prepare for the tour. So, I mean, that's not like I used to do it in terms of cramming it in so much. I just found it helps you a lot to have a bit of time to think.
Let's look down the road 5 years from now, Mike. What would you like to see for yourself?
Oh, I can't think about 5 years. I can't get past the middle of next year.
What would you like to see for yourself? You happy now?
I've been happy for the last 20 years, in a way. Although, I mean, I'll tell you one thing I am finding. I'm getting much harder to work with. I think whether my standards are getting higher or what. In the past, you let certain things go. I mean, the bulk of all your work has to be a certain standard, but I keep striving, I mean, for a kind of higher standard, which I hope I'm getting to. But it's getting harder to work with people, and, you know, I'm getting more difficult, I've noticed.
Really?
Maybe it's old age, you know, getting crotchety, bad-tempered. But in the future, I don't know. I just want to carry on this way. I'm sure within 5 years something new will have happened in terms of projects. At the moment, I'm very happy with Genesis and the Mechanics, but I like to keep the idea of sort of stretching out and trying new things that come up.